Last week, we heard from House Democrats criticizing Senate Bill 1. This week, members of the Indiana Tea Party are calling for Governor Braun to veto the bill, too. 21 Alive's John Wagner has that part of our coverage tonight.
In general, does Governor Braun have the support of the Tea Party in Indiana?
We were hoping that Governor Braun would be the conservative governor and would fulfill his promises on this property tax relief. As this has gone through the legislative session and Governor Braun has worked with the legislature, we have lost faith in Governor Braun fulfilling and making sure that he can be relied on to fulfill the promise that he made as he was going through his campaign in 2024. This is what he was elected on. Property tax issue was the #1 issue of voters across the state of Indiana, and it's turned into a complete nightmare and is a disaster.
So House Democrats, and including Representative Kyle Miller from here in Fort Wayne, have called this, it's not as much of a cut as it is a scam.
This bill masquerades as something that gives people that belief that they're going to see lower property taxes. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is the loss of those funds directly impacts our local community. So they're faced with cutting these essential services, police and fire and schools, in order to backfill those funds. They're going to have to increase the local income tax.
I agree with the Democrats that it's not the version that Governor Braun had promised he would work with the legislature to complete. And so I guess the scam might be a word Democrats use. We're more along the lines of maybe using the word betrayal.
I think there's some who see this as sort of a, well, we have to rob Peter to pay Paul situation. Do folks in the Tea Party have something they would have in mind for a revamp of Senate Bill 1 the way it is in order to cut those property taxes, but not also raise other taxes to backfill some of those essential services that we all enjoy?
There was several legislators that had proposed legislation earlier in the year. J.D. Prescott was one of those. It would have eliminated property taxes completely in the state of Indiana, including all personal property taxes. And I think that was the plan that we were favoring. We would like to make Indiana the freest state in the union, and eliminating property taxes would accomplish that and make us the freest people in the country by not being forced to pay the government rent through our property taxes through the rest of our lives.
I mean, would that be the ideal version of this Senate bill for you, that this would fully eliminate property tax?
I think it would be a benefit to all Hoosiers. It would provide a mechanism. We realize that this would have to be a step-through system that would take several years to proceed through the change in going from the current tax system we're at now through a system like that would eliminate property taxes altogether.
I wanted to bounce one more aspect of the bill off of you and see what you thought, see what the Tea Party in Indiana thinks. There's part of the bill that would have the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance develop a property tax transparency portal by 2026, and that would allow homeowners and taxpayers to sort of see how any proposed legislation would affect their rates and what they're expected to pay. What's your critique of that?
Well, that component was part of the governor's plan, and I think it's great when the government's transparent.
I believe in transparency and openness, just like in my property tax reform plan. I want citizens to be able to see what's going on.
But the transparency needs to happen now as they're debating this SB 1 and trying to bring it across the finish line. And that's the problem. They can't tell us what the people's taxes are going to be next year, in 2027, in 2028, 2029. And so that's not transparent. And so that's what we're demanding, is to be able to complete a bill that was actually allow you to determine what your property taxes are going to be from year to year. We just need to demand Governor Braun veto this bill and provide the promises and fulfill the promises that he made when he was running for office in 2024.
Well, the Indiana Tea Party not alone in asking Governor Braun to veto the bill. His lieutenant governor is doing the same. We will have to see how this all plays out. But thank you so much for being with us on 21 Live News.
Well, thank you very much.